Highest XG that Manchester United have faced at Old Trafford. They created 9 big chances, Tottenham, which is as many as Newcastle. United's point of view, Ashley, this was extremely disappointing performance. It felt flat in the ground and it looked flat on the pitch. Can you point to any reasons as to why it might have happened?
I think Man United just didn't give anything. There was no effort, there was no work rate, no one was running. It didn't look like there was no leaders on the pitch. It's just, everything just seemed disjointed. It looked like it was just so many individuals all over that pitch and no one wanted to take the ball, no one wanted to create anything. It was just, everything was bad from start to finish. I think Jamie started, when we talked at half-time about who was the home team, Tottenham was so comfortable. Man United didn't lay a glove on, they didn't do nothing. They didn't get in behind, but then they created a couple chances as well. Build on that at all, and like you say, Tottenham's 2 centre-halves, I don't think they were troubled, and you know, they were moving all over the pitch. They had so many different chances, different opportunities, and like I say, it just looked like Tottenham were the home team, and you know the United fans are going to go away disappointed, and you know rightly so as well.
It feels from the Manchester United fans that we're seeing, from the atmosphere that we heard inside the ground, Jamie, that these Manchester United fans almost look like they've given up, that they're beyond being angry.
Yeah, because it gets to a point where you almost feel sorry for the manager as well. He looks completely out of his depth. He looks like he's struggling to motivate this team. We'll go more in depth, obviously, once we come back after the break about the whys and the ifs that's happened. But it just feels that, you know, you asked the question about maybe Anne's been under pressure. If you're under pressure as a manager, this is the place you want to come, because you get all your confidence back. You look at Tottenham today, it was so easy for them. You know, they just look so comfortable, so calm. They're under no duress. And it's anymore. He's got his back four in place. He's got all the players at his disposal. There's no excuses. They are rock bottom right now. I just don't see where he can go from here. They are as bad as I've seen the United side. It's actually, I think Garry called it disgusting. It's embarrassing, because of a club of this stature shouldn't be producing performances like that. And the most damning thing, and Christian Eriksen said it after the game midweek against FC20, they don't want it enough. That can never happen. You can get beaten, you can always have moments where a team does you a bit of skill or a bit of quality, but you can't get outworked. And that's a
certain type of opposition. So, yeah, I think we just did a great job today, and yeah, a great win.
Yeah, Mickey, did you feel in complete control from the very opening seconds of that game?
Yeah, what Brennan said, we controlled the game. We knew, of course, the danger also, that the counter-attacks were quite dangerous from them, but I think we controlled it well, and the rest defence was quite good, and yeah, we controlled it.
Should we get to your run then and Brennan's goal? What were you thinking? We don't see that often from a centre-back.
As soon as we get to a position where we can cross it quite early, the manager demands the swingers to be at the back post, and for goals like that, it's so easy, but it's so important to be there. So yeah, I was happy to be there.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's a tale of two smiles, because they cut to your dad in the crowd. It was about a minute later, and he still just sat there with a grin on his face.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that they come and support me everywhere, and yeah, it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to them as well, so I'm happy to see them smiling. So
Mickey, in terms of maybe momentum for your season, because in the league it kind of felt like you weren't getting the results. Your performance is probably deserved. Do you think this is more than three points?
3 points, and a really important 3 points.
Yeah, and Brendan, you are absolutely flying at the moment. Where have you found maybe the self-belief from to find your best football?
From the team, the manager, and my family and friends, I think. Yeah, when times get difficult, I think when you have such good teammates, such good staff, such good family and friends around you, I think you just got to remind yourself of what really matters. And yeah, I've just come out kind of wanting to be positive, even if things don't go well, trying to be creative, positive, and yeah, the ball's hitting the back of the net at the minute, and I'm happy to just help the team, because today it was a massive win.
Well said. Got a job. You need to return the assist, because Mickey van der Ven is the player of the match. Do you mind doing the honours, please?
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Well done, guys. I enjoyed that. Well done.
And what they expected from each other, because Van der Ven said, I knew that once that had opened up for me, that Brennan Johnson was going to be there, and Brennan Johnson said, I was smiling as it arrived to me, because I knew I was in the right place and where he was going to go.
It's like what he said, they must have a great connection there, but I think Van der Ven, when you see him striding out from the back, he does take a quick look to try and find a pass, but you know, he sees the gap opening up, and with his pace he's just going to go down the line and get the ball across. And you know, with Brennan Johnson, I think he's full of confidence, and he wants wants to get in the box to score goals, and that's exactly what he's done. I think he's run off Dalot already when he sees Van de Ven picking up pace, and to get in the back post, he's by himself, and I think he's smiling before the ball's even got in the back of the net because he knows he's got a tap in.
Do you know, it's one of those where Brennan Johnson just hope he see me. I really hope he see me here, because Van de Ven, I mean, the run's incredible, but to be fair to Brennan Johnson, getting himself in that situation, wide men don't do that often enough. Getting into that area, that back post, because they're
this before. Ashley's going to close his ears for a second. He's got previous.
Well, he did it against Everton last year, and we've seen it. And he's got such amazing pace. If you give him a chance, this is this season, if you give him a chance, he can just go through the gears. Look, everyone else looks like they're going backwards. You can't stop him. He brushes people away. He gets quicker and quicker, and he obviously then can play the pass as well to Son. And that's such an advantage. That's what we talk about with modern day defenders now, the fact that they can do that. Normally they get it and they give it out wide, but you can just see that he possesses such great pace, but he's also capable of getting on end product as well. Fantastic centre-back play.
And as you say, a fantastic centre-back player. He performs his defensive duties. Solid defender anymore, is it?
No, of course not. You've got to be an all-round defender, and that's someone that wants to play with the ball as well, and getting in positions to start attacks. And you know what Andrew's like. He wants all his players to be comfortable on the ball to go and play. And you see Mickey van der Ven there. He knows what he needs to do. He sees the gap. He knows his pace, and he goes to attack it. And like you say, defenders now are like attackers because they're the ones that start off from the back. And he started one there, and he's got his rewards because he's got an assist.
Yeah, he's got the assist, and he's got the Player of the Match award. So at that stage, it's 1-0. Tottenham were on top of Manchester United even at that stage, but they hadn't managed to extend their lead. And then Manchester United were down to 10 players. Bruno Fernandes was shown a red card for this. It was on the opposite side of the pitch from where we are, and we had to come back and look at the monitors to try and work out exactly what.
There's an overload on that side, and there's a couple of camera angles that don't do it justice, but you can quite clearly see, I mean, he slips first and foremost, and he catches him with the back of his heel on Maddison's shin pad. I mean, it's not reckless, he's not endangering anyone. Yeah, it's a foul, but it's yellow card maximum. I mean, to send him off in that situation, maybe the referee, just take your time a little bit, don't jump the gun and put the red card up. I just think he reacted a little bit too quickly, but when he sees that back, and surely they'll probably make a statement and say they got that wrong, because for me, that's not a red card.
You think the VAR should have overturned it as well?
Yeah, because it's a booking. I'm not saying it's not a foul.
He's slipped.
Exactly. I'm not
it's
quite
hard
sure
to control what you're doing when you've slipped over, and I think that's where you're exactly right, Darren.
And the slip is the part that...
Petulant, if anything, but a booking would have sufficed and we could have got on with the game.
But Bruno Fernandes goes off, and then they head into the second half with that advantage, with that player advantage and with the goal advantage. And Tottenham very early on in the second half made it 2, Ashley.
Yeah, they did, and we knew it was going to be tough for Manchester United in the second half, and Tottenham wanted to go and get more and more goals, and they're getting players in the box. Brennan Johnson, like I say, full of confidence, he's running down the line, and I'm not sure whether he picks out Kulusevski, but the ball falls to him, and you know what, it's a great finish as well. He's up in the air and he's looking like Karate Kid where he finishes that off.
There's a touch of Haaland.
Like inventable finish from Kulusevski there as well, because it's not an easy finish, but it almost makes his mind up for him, because it pops up there, you either go over your head, but I mean it's a fantastic finish. That gets a nice clean contact on it as well, and just lifts it over Onana, who can't react quick enough, and it's a really nice finish.
And Dominic Solanke on the score sheet as well. It took him a few games to kind of get himself up and running at Tottenham.
Yeah,
this will
he's
do
arrived
wonders.
now. He's arrived as Tottenham number 9. It's a big moment for him. But Darren, I'm going to leave this to you. This is your domain. Tell us about this.
I just love it, because it's where all good centre forwards should be. You don't have to think about it. You anticipate that the ball might just drop here, and if you do that, I promise you, 6-7 a season you'll get without even thinking. He's in there. It's not even a clean contact on it. He just gets his studs on it in the 6-yard box. And it's a tap in, but because he anticipates where the ball's going to land, he doesn't have to not have to think about it. If you just anticipate, because he might go there 9 times out of 10, it doesn't land there, but that one time it does land there, you make sure you're ready for it. And as I said, he doesn't have to get good contact, just get the studs on it, something on it, and it'll end up in the net.
Yeah, I think Tottenham were excellent today. I think we all totally agree with that. But when you actually dissect those goals and you look at how Tottenham obviously carved out the opportunities, you look at Rashford, in terms of like the first goal where he just completely misses the challenge with Garnacho, and then you've got Dalot at the back post that doesn't match a run, which is like, that's just such basics. The way that you let the defender run through for the first goal, really poor. Martinez for the second goal, poor defending. And you look at the third goal there, people just not picking up. You've got Solanke, you know he's a predator in the box, he's going to score goals. Nobody's actually taking...
Well, Bruno, you wanted to do this interview, you volunteered to step up and speak to the media. What can you say?
No, just to say that obviously I left my teammates down with one man down. I do appreciate everything they did on the pitch. Obviously, was tougher for them. We didn't start the game well when it was 11v11. Then obviously the result is on their side, and we get the situation with the red card. And obviously, I think they did very well. They tried. Obviously, we conceded another 2 goals, but it was difficult to cover all. The team was always there, and I'm really proud of the team.
For you as captain, is that just the worst possible feeling, being sat in the changing room or wherever you were in the second half, not being able to help your teammates?
Oh, well, obviously no one likes to be sent off, and it's not a good feeling seeing my teammates running a lot and trying a lot to get a result and trying to score, because that's what they try to do, to get the result on our side, and we end up conceding another 2 goals, but they did try everything.
Tell us about the incident then, the red card from your perspective. It looked like you slipped going in, but how did you see it?
No, part of slipping going in, I don't take him as everyone wants to see it. I don't go away with the studs. I take him with my ankle. It's a clear fall, but never a red card. That's my feeling. And even Maddison, when he gets up, and if you everything, and I've never seen something so quick coming off as a red card, and I just think it's never a red card.
So were you just in complete shock seeing the red card in the ref's hand?
Yeah, for me it's a fall. If he wants to give a yellow, because it's even the contact is not even that strong. If he wants to give me a counter because a yellow because it's a counter attack, I agree, and then I don't understand why VAR doesn't call the referee to the screen. It's, for me, it's not. It just.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruno.
Bruno Fernandes, I think everybody agrees with his view of the red card that was given, and that none of you think it was a red card. What did you make of his assessment of the rest of the game, Jamie?
They had a couple of chances, but it didn't really stir the crowd into life. Martinez had one, Casemiro had another one, half chances. We know how difficult it is. We've all been in a situation when you've got 10 minutes, tough. But I don't think that and you can't just switch it on and off. When you're the home side, you've got to take the game to the opposition.
Tottenham was dominant. We couldn't get the right press, and we also make many mistakes in possession. We should make. I think we couldn't find the spare man, or we couldn't pass over the press, and we make wrong decisions. But we could have come back in the game, because we had our chances with Zirkzee, with Garnacho on the post, and then I think the red card that changed, of course, the game.
You often come and stand in front of us if it's been a bad day, and you'll defend your players as best you can, but is that first half performance up until the red card really hard to defend today? Really poor?
It was no good. That's definitely, it's not possible that a player from the team and then centre back from the opponent and then bring a cross in. And you should stop it at first, and also on the contra side, and we made very clear before the game how we should defend this. So this can't happen. And then I think we lost a little bit of confidence, and we were also poor in possession, and we can do better there. And I think all the players know this.
Yeah, is that really disappointing to have to say? Because there have been some really positive signs. I think you talked about it in the week with your defensive structure, with your build-up play. So today, the things that had been good, did they go missing?
Absolutely. I mean, we know Tottenham presses high, and we know when we attack also they have a lot of speed in front. How you have to keep your positions, or how you have to take your positions, and there we were quite undisciplined.
You just stood here and said it wasn't a great performance when you had 11 men.
No, but I also said we had big chances with Zirkzee. Maybe he's oversee even Rashford. A ball on the post from Garnacho. It's only 1-0, so we could make a comeback. and I think had a big impact on the game.
Do you think, in terms of how your team played, the progress you're looking to make, do you think we saw familiar failings today, things we've seen many times in the past?
I'm not. I don't think. I'm not aware what you are thinking. What do you mean? The press was no good first half. That I agree with this. But yeah, how we concede some counter-attacks after we counter, we make very bad decision making. We had a lot of space, and that's then also, I would say, the form of today.
How do you turn this round, Eric? What, I don't know, you've had maybe a few minutes just then in the changing room. How on earth do you pick the players up?
It's always a new day, and I told them just in the dressing room, come on, tomorrow a new day, but yeah, we have to learn, we have to do things better, we have to be better in the pressing, especially also better on the ball, because there were situations where we could have played better to find the spare man or about progress after such a defeat. We have to deal with this. We have to show resilience, definitely, but don't talk about this moment today about progress. I want first to deal with this defeat.
Yeah. And lastly then, for you and your team, with Porto and Villa to come, does it just feel like a really big week for your season ahead now?
No, I just focus now on Porto. We will close this game down, so we deal with it, and then we move on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All the best to you.
Garry Neville joins us from the...
But if all the words I used during commentary are atrocious, awful, disgusting, it was all those things in the first half. Second half, I comment less on because of the fact they're down to 10 men and they're having a little bit of a go. But just, you know, he's talked about two things there. He's talked about the pressing element of the game. He's talked about, obviously, the playing out from the back. The pressing element, I mean, they sort of dropped to what would be sort of now deemed as a mid-block position when it was Xerxes and sort of Fernandez. And I couldn't work out what the trigger was for the press for the first sort of 5-10 run. And Manchester United have proven time and time again, only here against Liverpool a few weeks ago, that they get caught all the time against a half-decent team when they try and play out sort of from the back. And then we move on to the players. So you say, are the players not buying into what Erik ten Hag is telling them to do, or do they not believe in it? One thing I can say is that their application towards doing it was abysmal. And the most worrying thing was, and maybe I didn't pay enough attention to it on Wednesday night, was Eriksen's comments around the fact that he felt that FC20 wanted it more, that they were more hungry. That is a player that is in the middle of that dressing room, who I would suggest is as an experienced player, emanates on a weekend, and we've seen it here today. They really didn't put the effort in that first half. Now, in the past, when Manchester United have been in this position where, you know, a manager has been under pressure, the players sometimes have felt the pressure, the strain, and they look drained and they look lacking in the belief, and that sometimes can mean that they look like they're not working hard. I don't believe any player goes out onto a pitch and wants to not play well and wants to get criticism. So I'm torn here today as to why Eriksen has said that on Wednesday about his teammates, that they're not hungry enough. Because what we've seen out there in that first...
Hag said he didn't really understand what Pat was referring to. What's your thoughts on that?
No, one thing we know from the last 10 to 12 years is that from a day like today, it becomes really challenging, and that you've got to reverse that very quickly. Great managers have been employed by this club over the last 10, 12 years, and they found it very difficult. And going into that third season, the ones who've got there have started to be put under a little bit of pressure. Erik ten Hag, obviously, at the end of last season was under great pressure, and the new owners had a look around the market to see whether they could find another manager and another coach. They decided that they couldn't do, and they supported Erik ten Hag and they backed him with a... Whether they would have expected, I think. I felt like today was an important moment in the season for United, and naively thought that Spurs might be good opponents because of their high line and because of the fact they give you a chance. I just thought they've got all their players fit apart from Luke Shaw. It's Tottenham at home, where Manchester United historically have had a good record over the last 20, 30 years, and yet they were absolutely awful, and it was as bad as it gets. And that a day like today, we've seen a few of them, haven't we, over the last 10 years? You've just mentioned it, Kelly, where you've been doing these interviews with me. And it hasn't gone that well from these types of day forwards. He's got to get a hold of it and a grip of it very quickly. And I would suggest the players, to be honest with you, have got that in their control. I'd be suggesting the players probably go and have a meeting themselves tomorrow morning without the manager, because they've got to decide first what they want to do. And Erik ten Hag has got a...
The club have looked around in the summer and looked for a replacement for Erik ten Hag, then decided that he was the best option for them to start the season with. Do you think they'll still be thinking that at this stage, after what you've said is has been a really important game for Manchester United that's gone completely the wrong way for them?
I think what they definitely would have been looking at, giving him a new contract and supporting him in the transfer market, is to give them probably 1 or 2 years of air cover to allow them. There's a lot of change going on behind the scenes in the club, just generally across the whole club, on and off the pitch. And they're obviously trying to implement an organisation and processes, and I think they would have wanted along the way some victories and some wins and some good performances, just so that they can get busy doing their work. The problem is the sort of, if you like, attention is going to come to the give Erik ten Hag some time, and I did expect them to get better. I did expect them to progress in the first few months after the transfer window that they had. But today has shocked me, I have to say, about how low they've gone. It was a really bad one. I know that David Moyes had some bad ones in the early days, and so has Ollie along the way, and Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho and Ralph Rangnick. But that felt like one of those days today where they sank really low.
Garry, appreciate you staying back to talk to us after your commentary duties. That crowds should have cleared by now. Get a safe trip home.
Thanks for your concern, Kelly.
Thank you very much to Garry Neville. Look, he's clearly and is very heavily emotionally invested in what happens at Manchester United. Is it getting more and more difficult, do you think, to defend Ten Hag's position, Jamie?
Yeah, I'd have to say so. I've been doing this that he's brought in don't look right. They are playing with no confidence. They are looking like a team. You can talk about the press all you like. But this club, more than probably any, has a DNA of attacking. Ashley will know it better than I will. They attack, they get after teams. When they're winning, they stamp on their throat and make sure they go 2-3-0 up. And that isn't a lot to do with the press or just not being quite on it. I see too many players looking like... And Gary's right, it's not like you don't care. It's not like they're just not putting that extra effort in. Because this club is not built like that. They want to see the players having a go. And I just feel right now, I just don't see how he can keep his job with these performances. I just feel like he looks completely lost. I don't know how he can turn it around. The money that he spent is too much to turn a
result like this and you go, right, where can we realistically put points up, and also which games might be a little bit easier than others. But all of a sudden now, because the confidence is on the floor, they're not kind of implementing what the manager wants them to do. There's no confidence in the squad. Every game now seems more and more difficult. You get to Brentford, they're flying, they can cause you problems the way that they play. It's going to be difficult for him, and you heard Ten Hag a lot last season speak about it. At the end of the season, the injuries were a concern. That's why we didn't see the best of this Manchester United side, because they had so many injuries. When all these players are back,
at that stage, that was a valid reason, a valid contributing factor.
It was, and then I think it's only Luke Shaw that's out now. But we're not seeing the signs of that. He spoke about next season will be a lot better because all the players are back. He's invested in the transfer market. And they look worse than they looked last season with the injuries. So you start thinking, well, whose fault is it? And as you're saying there, that the players have got to take a little bit of a responsibility, look themselves in the mirror. Am I doing enough in my position? Am I affecting the game enough in this situation, in this time, as we speak in the season? And for me right now, they're not. So it's a big, big week. And you have to fear for Erik ten Hag. I get it about the XG, creating opportunities and not taking them. But defensively today, it's pressing, working it together, collective. He just wasn't there at all.
They scored 5 goals in 6 games. Manchester United, how can that be right? That sums it up. They spent £616 million. This is a graveyard for great players. Everyone that comes here seems to just go downhill. You think the chances they should be creating, you should be licking your lips thinking if you're going to sign here and you've got Garnacho and Rashford and players like that, if you're a centre forward, getting so many opportunities, but it's not happening. Everyone, for whatever reason, is so devoid of any confidence and belief. But for Man United to only have that many goals in 6 games is just like you couldn't make that up in your era, for sure, Ashley.
Yeah, of course. And I think it just showed today where you've got the 2 wingers going 1v1, and instead of going to attack the space in behind, they'd rather turn back and play the safe pass. That's when you know you've got a winger that's got no confidence. And as a winger previous as well, when you're here, when you see a 1v1, that's when your eyes light up. That's your time to shine. And when players are not doing that and turning it down and wanting to go backwards, it's not the way to be doing it. So You know, it's one of the things that, like I said, that they're going to have a meeting between themselves and work out what's going wrong.
And to that point about goals, Tottenham have now scored more goals at Old Trafford this season than Manchester United have managed, and that's not a place that Manchester United fans will want to see their team. And everything looks difficult as they look to their fixture list. For Tottenham, though, everything seems rosy. They'll get a bounce from this 3-0 victory at Old Trafford. We'll hear from Ange Postecoglou next.
Well, Ange, so much stress for managers, so many difficult days, but today, did you just enjoy watching your team from minute one, really?
I enjoy it all the time, mate. I mean, I think the stress is for others. I love what I do, and I love managing this team. I think, yeah, but you're right. Today was a joy to watch. You're kind of involved in the game, but I just, at times sitting back and just seeing the quality of our football, the hard work and discipline we showed, and we didn't have the ball. Outstanding effort by the lads.
What was the key to it?
Just, I think for us, it was just, having a real kind of conviction in who we are as a team. You come to a place like Old Trafford and there's always, that inclination to maybe ease off a little bit. But, we just want to be a team that goes at opposition teams, irrespective of where the game's played or who the opposition is. And I thought, to a man, the way we started today, there's a real intent in our football.
Yeah, and you were a defender back in the day. Did you have that in the locker, what we saw from Mickey van der Ven?
No, nowhere near it, mate. I mean, outstanding. I mean, Mickey's he's a brilliant footballer, brilliant defender, great person, and it's the second time this year he's almost run the length of the field and still had the quality to set somebody up. So, it was a great first goal. Set the tone for us. I thought we really should have been out of sight after about 15-20 minutes with the chances we had. But I think the pressure we were putting on, the red card was a consequence of that, and we just sort of took control after that.
But was that actually the only concern? You stood there after 30 minutes, maybe even half-time, thinking, how was this only 1-0?
No, not really. I mean, it has been a tale of our season a little bit, but I think the difference today was I just felt the lads were just, they weren't sort of dwelling too much on the missed chances and were focusing on what's next and creating more chances. And we've got guys now who are in good goal scoring form, Dom and Brennan, obviously, which, we kind of didn't have in the first 2 or 3 games. So that's helping us. And, I think today was I can't fault any of them. I thought it was an outstanding performance.
Do you think this does, I think I asked you something similar pre-match and you didn't agree, but I'll have another go. Do you think this does put a different complexion on things? Suddenly you've won away to a big rival. Suddenly it's 4 wins on a row and things just look a little bit different. You're quite connected now to the teams at the top as well.
Yeah, no, good try, but no, you won't get a different response. I don't think things happen suddenly. We know what we're about. We know where we are on our sort of journey to being the team we want, and I think we've had a real consistency in our performances. The results haven't been there for sure, but at the same time, we know what we see from the players every day and what kind of team we can be, and today is just a vindication of that.
Yeah, and in terms of that journey, is one of the good things about today. It's hard evidence of the progress you're making.
If you need it, yeah. I don't need it, but if others need it, yeah. But I think, irrespective of whether others see it, the important thing is what I see and what feedback I give the players, and I definitely see it.
Well done, Ange.
Thank you, bud. Thanks.
Safe journey home, mate.
He's clearly trying to be respectful here towards the opposition in terms of Manchester United, but you'd imagine, Darren, he'd be delighted with that Spurs performance, not just because of the results, but because he's got those players doing exactly what he wants them to do.
Yeah, there's clear identity into the way that they play. I mean, it's entertaining, it's on the front foot. And they ran all over Manchester United today, and we've seen it many games. And I think the way that they play, there are times where they are going to come on stark and get beat quite heavily because of how open they are. But a lot of the times as well, it doesn't really matter if they go down to 10 men, as we've seen against Karabakh in the league, and then last season against Chelsea down to 9 men, still play the same way. The players have bought into that, and they're enjoying playing that football. It's hard to play against. You've got to be fit to play against this side as well. A lot of pace on the outside as well. But as you said, the most important thing is the identity, and they believe in what he's doing. And they believe playing this way, he believes it as well, is taking them to where they want to get to, which ultimately is that top 4.
And as Darren said, it is quite a high-risk strategy. But, and I know they were down to 10 men Manchester United for the second half of this game, but they kept a clean sheet as well. So that's pleasing from a manager's point of view as well, particularly when he's been criticised for the defensive performances of his team.
But they're brave. You only got to look at the team he started with. You could have easily played Bissouma as a defensive midfield player and played Kulusevski wide left instead of Werner, and then you can thicken up the midfield, be more difficult to beat. He doesn't. He does take risks. I think if Son would have played to that, it would have been 6. I genuinely believe that. The times that he went through, instead of Werner, he would have finished that. And that was probably, probably could even better for Tottenham today. But in terms of that performance, I think they needed it. It was a statement win. They haven't really played bad in any games yet, even though when they lost to London Derby, it always feels like they hurt even more. All the other games, Newcastle away, they were excellent. Even Leicester, first day of the season. There have been some really...
For his team, they were fantastic. And he was all over the place. He was close to... for me, being player of the match. But
we just said that, the three of us, didn't we? When you see those clips, they're brilliant.
Yeah, of course, and he's thriving. And like Benty said there, they've bought into the manager's ideas. They know what their plan is. If they haven't go with a plan A, they'll go with plan B. And it's exciting to watch. And at times they're going to get found out. But it's like what they're saying. If the opposition score 3, we're going to go and score 4. And they showed it today, and it's vitally important as a defender getting a clean sheet as well. It was just an all-round perfect performance.
Yeah, really rewarding for them, and really always entertaining to watch. Although if you're a Spurs fan, probably slightly nervy at times under Ange Postecoglou, but always exciting. And they come away with that 3-0 victory. He said he always wins a trophy in his second season, Ange Postecoglou. Is that off the back of this one result and one performance? I know, but is that looking like a distinct possibility, do you think, Darren?
We're looking at his performance, you'd have to say that it's positive. I mean, it's still a long way to go. We've only just started the season and they're in multiple competitions. But yeah, I mean, if he believes it, I think that's the most important thing, is that he believes it, which is going to feed through to the players. Because you're looking at their performances, they clearly believe in what the manager's doing. So there's that relationship with them. So they're going to be close. I mean, with the squad of players they've got here, the squad depth that they've got, I think they can compete on all fronts. Will they win in their second season? Who knows? But I think under Ange Postecoglou, they're certainly a football club going in the right direction to win something.
Thank you very much, Darren. Thank you very much to Ashley and to Jamie for your company. We're not done yet with this week.